Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new He Said. I look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective because one perspective is not enough. I am Alvin King, and I'm your host. Thank you all for being here tonight. Happy New Year! Happy New Year. Thank you all again for being with us tonight. I'm going to say that a couple of more times. And because we have a lot to talk about and a lot to reckon with, our episode tonight is called Public Lives, Private Choices, and the Price of Visibility. Tonight, we begin with a heavy heart, ladies and gentlemen. We send prayers and love and strength to the families of Renee Nicole Good, a woman in Minneapolis, and a gentleman by the name of Mr. Keith Porter in Los Angeles, whose lives were tragically taken after a fatal encounter involving ICE agents. 2 lives lost, families are shattered, communities once again forced to grieve publicly while suffering privately. Our thoughts are with their loved ones and with all the people of Minneapolis and Los Angeles who are carrying the weight at this moment. And here's the painful truth of all this, though, you guys. This didn't happen in isolation. It happened in a world already on edge, where violence, fear, and injustice feel like a daily headline instead of a rare occurrence. It happened in a country where compassion too often takes a back seat to cruelty, and accountability is treated like an inconvenience. But what makes this even more disturbing for me is watching leadership choose distraction over duty. While communities are crying out for answers, safety, and humanity, the person running this country appears more focused on vanity projects like building a ballroom he even isn't constitutionally allowed to build than addressing the very real crime, chaos, and human suffering unfolding right here before us. This is not just frustrating, it really makes me sick, and it should offend the conscience of this nation. I don't know about you, but I long for the day we wake up and breaking news doesn't mean another life lost, another family destroyed, or another round of malicious political rhetoric designed to divide us. We deserve better, guys. We really do. And so tonight, I want to say to you, stay focused. You know, we're going to speak truth tonight. We demand humanity, and we commit ourselves to being a part of this change, because silence won't fix this and indifference won't make it go away. All right, I'm going to ask my producer to put up a disclaimer while I tell you about our show tonight. Tonight's show took a bit of a pivot, and maybe not by accident. This week's show was meant to focus on joy and healing, but the news cycle had other plans. What we're witnessing right now across religion, politics, and entertainment, and the culture is a reckoning around visibility. Who gets to be visible? Who gets criticized for it? And who is protected when controversy shows up at their door? We are watching religion, politics, celebrity, and culture collide on social media, in the pulpits, on stages, and in courtrooms. What's being debated isn't just behavior, it's power, it's control, and it's who gets grace. And really, to be honest with you, who gets dragged, right? So tonight, we're not here to decide guilt. We're not here to cancel. We are here to talk about patterns, hypocrisy, and accountability, and the public appetite for judgment. And your opinion matters tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to talk about, we have 6 segments for you that we know that you would like to weigh in on. So, you know, as you can see, you know, we are in I'm in my laid back, say what you mean, do what you say what you mean sort of spirit. And we're going to have a conversation with you tonight about, again, how religion, patriarchy, and public image intersect. Now, I haven't seen these guys since last year. What's the day? That's probably like 10 days ago. I don't know. I haven't seen them, but I'm ready to see them, ladies and gentlemen. So if you all are ready, let's get on with the chat. Hey, there you are.
Buenas tardes.
There you are. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. But for me, the New Year doesn't begin until the Earth wakes up, which is typically around March. That's when the official New Year starts.
Who are you? Who?
The New Year really doesn't begin until the Earth wakes up in the spring. So this January 1st is a made-up New Year. It was created by religious men about 1,500, 1,700 years ago. So
when should we say Happy New Year to you?
Okay. So
the first of
spring. I say Happy New Year to you. Hi, Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Scratch. Well, we got our viewers on here. We got to acknowledge them. They came on and say Happy New Year. Michelle Sims, Happy New Year. George Pringle, Happy New Year to you. Kendall, Happy New Year. Rick Irick is here. Monica Pleasant. Patrice Wallace is here. Mark Brown, my brother from another mother, is here. Stephanie Brown is here. I know she's, because you know that's her wonderful. I know she's somewhere. Okay. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And as I said in the opening monologue, we had to pivot this week.
Yeah.
And we did it in a way that we know that you all been holding back, and you're gonna get it out tonight. So but again, Bobby and Sean, I missed you guys. I hope you had a great Christmas.
Yes.
And a great
good too.
I hope you had a great New Year, Bobby. Sean is still waiting for his.
I did.
You did?
I am. I'm waiting for my truth.
All right. Look, we're going to kick it off, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to go ahead and go into the first segment. Everybody's been talking about this. It has been all over the airways, and we're going to first kick this off by talking about Dr. Karri Turner Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife of New Birth Ministry Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're going to talk about the infamous dress. And that's referring to the social media controversy of late last year when Dr. Karri Turner Bryant wore a form-fitting nude illusion lace gown to the United Negro College Fund Gala, raising over $4 million, sparking criticism about modesty for a pastor's wife. Her husband, Pastor Jamal Bryant, defended her at his New Year's service, stating that he bought the dress, he liked it, and that she wasn't married to the critics, emphasizing that it was a flesh tone line gown, not sheer, and she was supporting a good cause. So I'm just going to kick it off to the viewers and to Bobby and you guys and Sean. I want to know how you all feel about the dress.
Bobby, you can start.
I hope people pay as much attention to the midterm elections as they did this dress, is what I'm going to tell you. Because I am telling you, the dress is an illusion dress. Is it the typical dress that you see many first ladies of churches wearing? No, because most of them would not look like she looked in that dress. It is a dress that is attention-getting and certainly accentuated her beautiful, curvaceous body. Is the dress inappropriate? I didn't see it as inappropriate. I've certainly seen far less material on people on the red carpets and all of that. Now, they are not first ladies of churches and so forth. But my skinny of it is that I don't believe that she was inappropriate. Her husband did not see it as being disrespectful. He purchased the dress. And again, pay as much attention to the midterm elections as you did that dress.
Sure.
Well, I think that was truly an interesting perspective. But truly, I think that this goes beyond the dress in the church. This is all about celebrity culture. Okay, these people, and we know that a lot of these churches are now about prosperity, but that also includes celebrity. They want to be on the red carpet, and they want to generate the same kind of interest as Angelina Jolie or Halle Berry when they walk down that red carpet. That's what this was all about. They got the attention that they wanted. She got the attention that she wanted, and now they're spinning it because of the criticism. Now, was the dress appropriate or not? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not religious. a professional religion, but this is where we are with social media. It is celebrity culture.
Well, thank you,
Yes,
Sean.
what do you think?
Huh?
Yes.
I got a couple of points. First of all, I love the dress. I love the dress on her. Coming from a world of fashion that I've been in all my life, it is really difficult to buy a dress and fit a woman who is as shapely as she is. You know what I'm saying? The dress didn't show skin. It was an illusion. So I'm just going to say on the note, I thought it was an appropriate dress for her. To Sean's point, they knew it was going to cause controversy.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely knew it. What I didn't like, I had the pleasure of going to a 12 noon New Year's Eve service at their church in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness I was sitting there going, is he going to talk about that dress? He going to talk about that? But he did not. But he did it at the midnight service. And all I'm going to say to that conversation was not about God. And so to that, I thought he could have let it go over. But I also appreciate, and I'm going to get off my high horse here. If you got a partner that sticks up for you like that, you keep them, because some of the world that I live in and some of the things that I see, you know, partners don't stick up for their, and I know a couple of them, because one of them's on this call right now, will stick up for his wife and she'll stick up for her husband. But you know, you don't see that. So I gave him an applause on that. I didn't judge him. I don't care what kind of pastor he is. He stuck up for his wife. I just didn't think he needs the pulpit to do it.
Well, as we expected when we began this planning this show and so forth, our viewers are chiming in now. And so
Yes,
I know you got a couple of them.
I'm ready. I'm going to start with the big cheese first, who said she's definitely for the streets. Oh, my goodness.
Cheese. What?
He said and Kendall said, why not focus on the occasion and not the amount of monies raised? She looked amazing in the dress. I said what I said, as you did. And then the big cheese came back and said, how can her husband represent the church letting his wife wear that dress? What kind of message are they sending the young people, especially young girls?
Oh, wow.
Big cheese, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily speak to that, but I gotta say, these are the same. I know some pastors and some wives who let their kids go to school with pajamas on.
You know, I know.
So the fact that this grown woman came out and was appropriately dressed, whether the church says she wasn't or not, I just think that was, I think that was a reach. And I think that people were just being mean. So let me go to the next point of this story that I want to make sure that we get with a Kojic preacher by the name of Bishop Patrick Wooden. He's the pastor of the Upper Room Church of God in Christ in Raleigh, North Carolina. He addressed Pastor Jamal's speech on New Year's Eve. And because Pastor Jamal said that people who didn't appreciate the dress wasn't classy, they don't know about events like that. And that made him, Bishop Wooden, imply that Pastor Jamal's wife looked like a $2 whore, which I thought was probably one of the most inappropriate things that I've heard a pastor say, outside of something that I've heard my old pastor say at my church years ago.
Yeah, I think that was definitely out of line, inappropriate. And I also think, in responding to what you were saying, but also Big Cheese's comment, I do think we also have to look at the history in our society and our culture of men determining and dictating and policing women and their bodies. His wife is an accomplished woman of her own standing. She is married to him, but she has accomplished a great deal on her own, and certainly is capable of choosing what she wants to wear on her body as an independent woman who happens to be married to a pastor. So not to say that her choice would not result in commentary or pushback or feedback or any of those things, but I'd like to think that as an accomplished woman, she is also positioned to determine what she wears and to also be able to respond to the consequences as a result of her choices.
Well, again, I think that both of you just reiterate my point about this being more about attention getting in celebrity culture or wannabe celebrity culture. I mean, the dress wasn't an attention getter, and for two ministers or preachers or reverends, whatever the titles might be, to be on social media for the most part and debating this, it just goes to what we're all talking about in terms of everyone wants to give an opinion or a thought on social media to grab the attention of outsiders who are gazing in. So, and Bobby, you said it best earlier. Please put as much attention into the midterm elections as you are putting into this dress in this story.
Amen. Amen. I say that we had a couple of more viewers to weigh in on. Herbert Wilson, Happy New Year to you, my brother. Sean, Happy New Year to you. Good evening. And Mark Brown said haters are gonna hate. From Mark's wife. That's from his wife. I agree with Bobby. Pay attention to the elections. Exactly. We got far more to worry about than that. Okay. Thank you guys for weighing in on that. We had to get our little say in on that. On that piece.
So, all that on a dress. Think about it.
All that over a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all that over a dress. So now we're going to move into something that's happening that. It's a little different. There's a violinist by the name of Bryant King Joseph. He's black. He's openly gay, and he's known for blending classical music with hip hop, and for his appearance on American Idol. And in December 2024, after performance in San Diego, he was invited to join Will Smith, based on a true story world tour, an opportunity he says felt like a major career breakthrough. And according to his lawsuit against Will Smith and Trey Studios, he filed on December the 30th, Joseph alleges that during that March 2025 tour stop in Las Vegas, he returned to his hotel room and discovered signs of an unauthorized entry, including personal items and a handwritten note that left him fearing unwanted sexual advances. He reported the incident to the hotel staff, police, and tour management, but claims that instead of support, he was shamed and fired from the tour, allegedly in retaliation. Now, I don't know. I don't have any information about how much he's suing them for or any of those details, but Will Smith and Trey Ball Studios have gotten their lawyers involved, and they're coming for him. So the story here is for him, for Mr. King, Mr. Joseph. Mm-hmm. He's saying that he felt like that because they're powerful figures, that there's not going to be any fairness in his case against them, and because they have more money than he does, that their celebrity status will affect the story, whether or not the story gets oxygen. But it's getting oxygen because it's Will Smith. So what does that mean?
Well, we think it's Will Smith. I mean, that's what he's alleging. I mean, Will Smith can't really be. I don't understand how he's attached to this story, because there is no evidence or no reporting from what I've seen that Will Smith entered this man's room, that Will Smith directed this individual or someone else to go to this man's room. I don't see the connection. And you guys know I'm not a Will Smith fan, but why would a man who has went through a lot publicly put himself in a situation like this? It just doesn't add up. And again, not a fan of Will Smith, but I believe and think that a judge is going to throw this case out.
Well, I have a feeling you may. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
I was just going to say, I do believe also that part of celebrity in this age and culture really, really, really requires you to be mindful of the situations that you find yourself with people being where alone time, having people around. It's just sad and unfortunate because there are people, and I'm not suggesting that this person is that, but I think there are people out who want to utilize people of prominence and affluence for payouts and payoffs and things of that nature, and sometimes place themselves in vulnerable positions. But then there are also people in positions of influence and power who also take advantage of that as well. And so the reality of it is at this point one person's word against another. And given some of the outcomes of some of these law cases, I don't think it's as closed and shut as this young man is suggesting, that simply because he's not of affluence that people will not take his accusations seriously. I think that people have got to be mindful of no one, just because you're alone with someone doesn't mean that you are asking to be sexually violated or harassed or any of those things. People need to be accountable for their own actions. So I don't think that just being in the presence of someone suggests that you were asking for inappropriate behavior. But I do think people in power and position sometimes take advantage of that, and we've seen that happen. I guess is what I will say.
Well, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go to Sean and say that, you said you couldn't believe a person of Will Smith's stature, someone who you don't necessarily care for, would put himself in that type of predicament. We're going to talk later about people putting themselves in type of predicaments. We're going to talk later about that. But on this guy, Brian Joseph, my thing is, I don't do anything without a contract. I don't know. There's some missing things that I don't know what's going on. But the fact that him blaming Will Smith for coming in his room is another bit of a reach for me.
It feels
I just don't think you just throwing names out there. And Marco Mays, Marco, good to see you. Happy New Year to you, my brother. Marco Mays said, I don't see the connection either. I see money gathers united at play. Absolutely. I think that there's some loose thread going on up in there. And I'm not, he said, and come on, hoodie edition, everybody.
Hi, Marco.
What you looking at?
Notice.
Marco's at the hoodie edition. You got it, Marco.
We thought that we would loosen our collars a little bit for this discussion tonight, because we might start sweating at the armpit. So thank you for being here, Marco. I appreciate it. But okay, so that's what's going on with out there with Brian King Joseph. I wish he'd get some jobs, because he really was good on America's Got Talent. I didn't know where he was. I thought he was. I didn't know where he was, but
now you know.
Apparently he's around, and hopefully he'll get a gig at some place. And our next segment might be the place that he could get a gig, because we want to talk about the Kennedy Center cancellations because of the Trump's name. They definitely got some openings going on over there. So guys, in February 2025, during the start of the second term, President T dismissed several existing members of the Kennedy Center's board of trustees and installed his own allies, subsequently naming himself the board's chairman. The move was criticized as an unprecedented political takeover of the national cultural institution, and the controversy has escalated in last month when the new board voted to rename the institution the Donald Trump and John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. So there's been a lot of cancellations, but first of all, before we get into that, let me, because y'all know we live in DC. How do you and Sean and our viewers, how did you feel about this happening at a place where you have grown up with? This is where you go to see all of the most extraordinary performances the world has to offer, now not even setting foot in Foggy Bottom because of it.
Well, people should first know that this is a memorial that was dedicated to our former president because he died by an assassin's bullet. And so it is by federal law that memorials are not to be desecrated. And this is a desecration of his memorial. So that should be the first thing that people should understand about this. So it goes beyond DC. This is a place where the arts, opera, classical music, jazz, dance, you name it, it has all been performed there by a variety of diverse international people. And to have someone who really didn't celebrate art in this way put his name on it, that just feeds into his narcissism. And we should be ashamed as Washingtonians for allowing this to happen.
Well, as a Washingtonian who not only frequented the Kennedy Center, as someone who has always really cherished time in that building. It is, anyone who knows me, lives here in this area, knows that has always been one of my favorite venues in the city. The elegance of it, the broad range, as Sean was suggesting, of talents that you could go there and see, Eric Benet, singing with the National Symphony Orchestra. I remember actually going to see the showing of the movie Selma, that instead of a soundtrack, they had the National Symphony Orchestra playing the soundtrack during the viewing the movie, and Congressman John Lewis and Ava DuVernay and all of them were there to talk about it afterwards. Just the broad range of artistic expression that the Kennedy Center is known to have. I stand in solidarity with many of the artists, and I too painfully have canceled my presence in that space. I will not walk into that building with that name on it. I will not support any type of artistic expression in that building as long as that name is there. So I join them in choosing to cancel my own presence in supporting artists in that building.
Well, and our producer just put up a few images of the artists, some of the artists that have canceled. One of them is the dance troupe, the Doug Barone and Dancers. They have canceled. The creators of Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and producer Jeffrey Seller have canceled. Issa Rae canceled last year the moment he took over. Yep. She canceled all her shows. And as we know, for those of us who have allowed Alvin Ailey to be a part of our lives for years, they're now at the Warner. So yeah, I just put that in there, Warner. So I know y'all not paying me to advertise, but I just sold some tickets. I just want you to know that in case people weren't going. I just want you to know that we did that. But I will say that the moment he's out of office, and there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to have to clean up after he's gone. But I will be at the ceremony of ripping that name off of that building. If God puts any breath in my lungs and some step in my pep, I'm going to, pep in my step.
I was going to say, I know what you meant.
You know what I meant. Okay, because I hurt myself. I was saying, that's all, like, get it right. Okay, I was like, I'm confused. But I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for that, because that is truly a travesty. And of all the things that he's done, that's at some of the top. And he's done some awful stuff.
It's sad. It's very sad.
That's really at the top.
Yeah, and let me say this, all these artists canceling their engagements, that's actually art in itself. Their cancellation is art.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that should be recognized.
Good. Okay, Sean, that was a good, Sean, I like that. You just went on and made me transfer to our next segment. Since we're talking about art and cancel, let's talk about Nicki Minaj, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Nicki Minaj's public alignment with Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Erica Kirk, culminated in a surprise appearance on Turning Point USA America on December 21st, right after we closed the show, so we couldn't talk about it, in Phoenix, Arizona. And this move is a significant shift from her past criticism of Trump policies, which she now frames as an evolution rooted in faith, independence, and public pressure. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all, I just when I thought Snoop Dogg and some of those others fell off the map,
Nelly,
this one right here, I'm sorry, this story right here, can I tell you, she just, if I had a bag, I would have barked in it the moment that to see her on that stage was just, it was trash in the making.
Yeah.
And yeah, I said it. It was trash in the making. I'm sorry. Mark Brown says, I'm happy to see the cancellations and glad that folks are making it a point to go to other venues. Absolutely. I too cherish the venue and love going there, but will not enter the space until the new name is removed. Amen. I'll probably be with y'all. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. I will not. I will not. I will not. And who is Major Boyce? Major Boyce should start cursing. Major, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Hi, Major.
And Marco said, I can't miss something I never had.
Wow.
Is that, was he talking about the Kennedy Center?
Yeah, I think he's referring to the Kennedy
Center.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the reality of it, as you said, I mean, being Washingtonians, we are very, very spoiled to have that facility right in our backyard. So so there are some people who are at other parts of the country who may have an understanding because of the arts facilities in their areas, but to have the national memorial of that nature, like we've been very spoiled around that. And what I will simply say very quickly, and you all have heard me say this, I try not to waste time or energy on those people that Harriet would have either left or shot.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Okay.
I've never heard.
Because Harriet had to make some choices when it was time to do the hard work of what needed to be done. She didn't get all those people all that way by messing around. There are certain people she knew she had to leave, and other people she would have to take out because they're like, they are going to tell what we are doing. And it's just like, no. So I'm not suggesting violence or by any stretch of the imagination to her. Let's be very, very clear.
Then
I'm not a violent person. So I want to be very clear about that. I'm not suggesting that any harm physically. I said I don't spend time on people that Harriet would have either left or that, like, that's she just her actions warrant no energy and for me. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, some people have said, and Sean, you were getting ready to say something like Glenn. Hey, Glenn said Nicki Minaj completely prostituted herself. What her reason, I've heard a couple of things, was that one of her male suitors was in jail and she was trying to get him pardoned. Is that, I didn't know if that was her reason for snuggling up to them. I don't know. But whatever it was, the world has spoken and Nicki is being canceled as we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Nicki canceled herself.
Yeah. So yes, her husband is a registered sex offender. He had to register with California as a sex offender. And so she's basically aligning herself with a man in the White House who is also convicted of something similar. But we also have to tie in the fact that Nicki Minaj is not even an American citizen. She is of Trinidadian citizenship. She can't even vote. Okay, so for me, she has no right, in my perspective, to say anything regarding our politics because she hasn't been involved. She has not got on the streets to get folks out to vote. Okay, so her credibility for me is non-existent. Okay, and so for her to go and sit with people who advocate against people like us, who look like us,
and her,
okay. If she's black, because Trinidad is, Indian and black. And if you know anything about Trinidad and Tobago and what's going on there politically between black people and Indians, you understand where I'm coming from, because there is some serious issues taking place between those two ethnicities and on those two islands. Yeah. So that is also part of this that it's not been discussed. Okay, so Nicki Minaj is looking at this from a different perspective. I mean, I'm assuming, what's going on with Trinidad and Tobago and their ties to what happened in Venezuela. Okay, her husband being or has to be a registered sex offender. Okay, her brother who is in jail. Okay, and then people forget that she was ordered by a judge to pay a lawsuit that she lost in the amount of $500,000. She was ordered to sell her house. Okay, so I don't know what she's all got going on. She's not on my playlist. She's never been on my playlist. She's had a few hit songs, but I think maybe she is drowning in her own creation. She's beefing with Cardi B. She's beefing with Megan Thee Stallion. She's beefing with Little Kim and what have you. So this is karma coming back on her after all that she has done.
Well, Glenn called her a prostitute, so that pretty much summed it up. And he said, that pretty much summed up what Sean was saying to a degree to have them help her. Monica, well, Bobby, everybody liked what you said. You're speaking, you're preaching. Pass the plate to he said. We will take all donations. Let me see. Monica Pleasant said her brother's in jail. She confirmed that, and Major says she's an idiot, which we all concur. The Big Cheese said that Nicki Minaj is trying to take Candace Owens' old spot as the queen of WS. Is that Charlie Kirk thing? Okay, because I know we're going to get that. And Marco totally agrees with Sean. Never a fan of hers. Major, Bobby, that Tubman, you should have hashtagged it. Okay, you heard it first on He Said, okay.
Somebody else.
Michelle Bowie. Hi, Michelle. She said hello to all of us. And she said, Nikki is truly the lost, and I shall not step foot in the former Kennedy Center until stupid orange man leaves the office. Okay. And Major, I love the way you curse. Really, I do. But yeah, okay. So we gonna put a nail in Nikki for now, and we're gonna move forward, okay? Because this next story that we're gonna talk to you guys about is this next one. It involves two people, Donnie McClurkin and Tyler Perry, sexual allegation charges. And in 2025 and early 2026, both Tyler Perry and Donnie McClurkin are facing serious civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and harassment. Both figures have categorically denied the allegations, Donnie having one and Tyler having two, with their legal teams characterizing the suits as financial shakedown or scams. So, let me open it up to my two brothers first. We're going to talk about Donnie McClurkin first before we talk about Tyler. Now, Donnie McClurkin has come forth and said that he had issues dealing with who he was.
Yes, his own sexuality.
His own sexuality. Now, that don't have nothing to do with you sexually assaulting somebody. But that was your omission. So, for many of us, there's no news that he could possibly be gay. There's no headlines there. But to Sean's point, when people,
I saw that, Sean.
To Sean's point, people should, when you say they should know better, when they get to a certain place in their life, I don't know. I think they should, because at the end of the day, there is not one penny, and they're extinct now. There is not one penny I could put next to my reputation. You hear me? My reputation is all I have. You can take my money, my house, my car, all that. But my reputation is what I have. So Alvin King ain't gonna be out here doing no stupid stuff. It don't have nothing to do with how much money I have. But here we are talking about sexual allegations for Donnie McClurkin. Your thoughts?
Where are you going for vacation this year?
Look over there.
I'm going to Costco. Did you want anything? We're going to get. I'm going to Costco. What can I pick up for you?
Oh wow!
You know what? This is the first. Okay, shady. We're not okay. We're not,
First of all, he was doing this. I don't know if you all saw him when he was like.
Okay, so moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, unless you all got something to say about Donnie McClurkin, my panel is like this.
I just, well, okay, so we got some feedback there. So we got some.
The Big Cheese. I like you, Big Cheese. Black men resources. Well, let me go back to the Big Cheese. He said, black men resources must put all assets, retirement accounts, savings, and property in an LLC trust to protect yourself from unscrupulous individuals.
And there are some unscrupulous individuals out there.
Okay. And Marco says the flesh is a strong vessel to deal with when alone with yourself. Then add faith-based to that. And Major says you all need Patreon so you can
I agree.
Right. See, Major, for here we can go to the edge, but we can't jump. So
I think we do have to ask ourselves though, why is it that certain people find themselves continuously in these spaces where people are making these types of accusations about them in all seriousness? Because the reality of it is, we are making light with one another and all of that. But these are very serious accusations that are being made about people. And in many instances, there are many people who are on the receiving end of inappropriate behaviors and actions and so forth, who never come forward because they believe that people will not believe them. And that's a sad reality as well. But when you are a person, because the reality of it is, this is not the first time for any of the people that you have mentioned. This is not the first time.
Yeah.
So I think one has to ask themselves why these people continue to put themselves in position where such accusations can be made.
And I'm going to say something. I'm sure a lot of you on here may get mad. First of all, let me respond to AK Moore talking about Donnie McJerkin. Stop it. Stop it. You came on here. You just took it to the whole. But how you doing, AK? But I wish we stopped saying that the world is attacking the black man. That every time there's an allegation such as this, or somebody has money, that the black man is. I'm not saying that black people are not under attack. I'm not saying that. But that seems to be the root, instead of holding the person accountable who keeps having these repeated stories or allegations or situations surrounding them. I know lots of wealthy men who would, I know lots of wealthy people that would not allow themselves to be in those type of positions based on what they do. They would not. And so to always, have this circle back to you, it makes you wonder.
Alvin, Marco Mays, he says something here that I think is relevant to that. He says the flesh is strong. The flesh is a strong vessel to deal with when alone with yourself. Then add faith base to that. For Tyler Perry and Donnie McClurkin, who claim to be very spiritual, religious Christian men, I think this goes directly to that. And Bobby, you were asking about, okay, why? Well, I don't profess to have the answers. I'm not omnipotent, but I think it's because these individuals are not being true to their true, authentic selves. And therefore, they have these insecurities that they project onto other people with the hopes that they'll get some kind of satisfaction out of it that would ease whatever insecurities or pain that they're dealing with. And then when they get called out on it, they want to say, oh, woe is me. I was 7 years old and got abused by this person, that person. Give me a break.
You're innocent until proven guilty. you know. And I can say this, you know, I don't know anything about them personally. I have never pushed up on, nobody's ever pushed up on me. I ain't pushed up on one of them, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, whether you have money or not, you don't have to be in a certain situation if you don't be careful of whether or not you put yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know if they're guilty. And
Time for disclaimer.
right, that's a disclaimer. See, but Rodney said that Donnie's case happened years ago, but it's surfacing now. And and Norma, we've already talked about that dress. Okay, we didn't beat that dress. We beat that dress to the nine. And Rodney said that, you know, if I were rich, I would definitely be sued.
Okay, Rodney.
Okay, Rodney. Okay.
That's my little brother there. That's my little brother.
He said, where truth matters.
Oh my God. What am I going to do with you, Rodney?
Marco said, I also believe the social construct of the man, Black men even more so, is compressed. Well, even more so, is compressed upon us as men that a lot of us deal with. I mean, yeah, I agree with that, but come on. I'm going to stick to what I said. You put yourself in these situations, or you're in these situations because somehow, some way, you've put yourself into it. And I don't think it's all because of your bank account.
Yeah.
I think it's bigger than that. And while we're talking about bank accounts, I want to go to our thank you all, because we really can't go where we need to go with this. But I wanted to make sure that we had a little discussion about it. Okay. And since we're talking about bank accounts, one of the most expensive stores for women athletic apparel is Lululemon.
Yeah.
And Lululemon has faced reoccurring allegations of sexual profiling and work discrimination, with several high-profile incidents involving Black customers and employees surfacing between 2017 and 2025. And I wanted to talk about this because I saw a story. First time, you know, of course, Lululemon has just started selling men's stuff, but I've had no desire to go in there. In Texas, a customer in Houston alleged that she was racially profiled when a store associate physically took a jacket out of her hands while she was preparing to purchase it. She did this is her, and she did a whole YouTube clip, and my heart went out to her. And she just gave it to him thinking that, he's going to take it to the back and bring it back. Well, when he brought it back, he brought back a soiled jacket and said, here's a jacket. She said, that's not the jacket. He said, well, that's the one you gave me. And her video clip moved me so bad, because if we can go back to that clip, please, Norman. She was doing something that she was like, I know I'm not dressed to go out shopping. And I was like, what? She says, I usually look better than this. She started questioning how she looked. And my heart just went up there. I said, you know what? I ain't trying to expose Lululemon like that. But this girl just made me do some research to find that Lululemon has been, you know, accused of racial profiling in the past. And Mark, I'm not messing with you already.
The buttocks I have for me. Woo, come on now.
But yeah, and even the owner, he's the former owner of Lululemon. He said that he questioned their diversity. He went public about how bad their diversity programming was. And I don't know if that's the reason why he left the company, but he just, you know, he said that they were really bad in that area and they needed to do better. This is Chip Wilson. He was he's no longer a founder, but he just talked about the brand's diversity efforts. And so, have you heard any stories about the different racial profile in Lululemon?
I have. I work at an independent school, of which there are many affluent families, and Lululemon is a common logo that I see among some of the parents. And I'm familiar with the local Lululemon that's closest to where I live and work. And I have always heard for many women of color who frequent there that they felt profiled, watched more closely, that type of thing. I've never experienced it because I've never stepped foot in one. But part of it also for me is I refuse. It's not that I can't. I will not frequent businesses that do not want me there, my resources that I work very hard for, or for people who look like me. I simply will not do that. It's one of the reasons that the store that I used to spend a great amount of time and money in, with a logo that looks like a bullseye. They turned on a dime, and so did my dime. I'm like, nope, we're not going to do that. So I wish that they were better, because I know people who frequent there and feel that it's a good quality thing. Some people feel it's highly overpriced, but in the end, all I'm saying is it's not a new accusation. It seems to be an issue, and I think the only way that you respond to it is by where you choose to invest your resources.
Amen.
Yeah, amen to that. I'm going to actually repeat what A.K. Moore and Mark Brown have said, because I'm where they are. A.K. Moore said, "They don't make pants for us." And Mark Brown said, "I don't know why we continue to frequent stores that don't respect us." About 15 years ago, I went into a high-end department store to do some shopping. I was ignored. I have not been to that store since. I won't name the high-end retailer, but it's at Tyson's Corner, and I haven't been back there since. We literally have to get to the point where, like you said, Bobby, when we feel disrespected, don't go there. Now, I'm all for, say, for example, I'm all for a movie or whatever, and for the sake of the story, if it's an all-white cast, I'm okay with that, because that's the story. Okay. And if it's a retailer that caters to a certain demographic, like I think it's called DTR, that caters to kind of a young hip hop culture, but it's mostly young Black people. But don't forget, we had apple bottom jeans that was specifically for women of color, if you will. We also have FUBU, okay, which was for us by us. Now, they weren't retailers, okay, but I don't understand why some people within our community have this notion that going into a high-end, overpriced store that probably has its garments made in China for a tenth of the price is some kind of status symbol. Whereas just go to a Macy's or whatever and find something similar or better or long-lasting quality. We got to do better when it comes to where we're spending our money with these retailers, these businesses that aren't making products for us. And it's okay, it's okay if that's what you're doing. Again, how many Black women that have flat bottoms? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. You said something, and just a tiny nerve has. Why do we go to stores like that are high end? Because some of us have worked our whole life to be able to go where we want to go, where we need to go to spend our money, and so that was my case with a store that has a B on it that I love. Many people know that I love this store, and in 1999. In downtown DC, they discriminated against me, and I wrote a letter, and here we are, almost 25 years later, and I still get a gift because I'm not going to stop going to that store because I held them accountable for hiring people who treated me like that. Mm-hmm. So there are ways to deal with it. That's how I dealt with it 25 years ago. But I don't go places that I feel like I'm going to be treated a certain way. But at the same time, I have worked my whole life to get to where I am, to be able to drop my green piece of paper wherever I want, wherever I want. And so I'm not going to be swayed by somebody who think I shouldn't be there. I'm just going to cut you without a knife. That's what I'm going to use a pen, and I'm going to get you. All right.
And a pen will do it. As one who's written a letter or two, a pen can do it.
It will do it. Well, okay. First of all, thank you all, Sean and Bobby and viewers. You all are so on it. Thank you all for indulging us today. Like I said, we had to pivot this week. And Major, thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you all for being here. But we're not finished with you all yet, because we're going to, before we let you go, something happened on the 30th of December. And we have a special Black Excellence presentation that we want to share with you. So here's our Black Excellence. Family, tonight, in our Black Excellence segment, we take a moment to honor a gift, a man whose music has walked with us through prayer, through pain, and through praise. That gift is Richard Smallwood. Richard Smallwood's journey begins right here in Washington, D.C., as a proud graduate of McKinley Technical High School, my alma mater, a place that helped shape not just his talent, but his discipline and purpose. From there, Richard went on to Howard University and started a singing group called Hot Tea, where his musical calling continued to unfold with singers like the incredible Angela Wimbush and Tawatha Ajee. Studying under the legendary Roberta Flack, Richard learned that music could be both technically masterful and spiritually honest. And that truth shows up in every composition he's given to us. In 1977, he formed his first professional ensemble, the Richard Smallwood Singers, known for hits like I Love the Lord, creating a sound that challenged, elevated, and expanded gospel music. Later, he would go on to form Vision, a successor ensemble whose music would reach the world. Through Vision, Richard Smallwood gifted us with the global hymn, Total Praise. That song has become a sacred soundtrack in churches, concerts, and moments of collective worship around the globe. Alongside Total Praise, songs like Healing, My Everything, and The Center of My Joy reminds us that music doesn't just fill a room, it ministers to the soul. His work crossed sanctuaries and reached the world, touching audiences through powerful performances, including Whitney Houston's unforgettable rendition in The Preacher's Wife. Richard Smallwood reminds us that God can use a willing vessel to bring comfort, clarity, and courage in two generations. Tonight, we at He Said say thank you for the songs, for the choirs, and for the legacy that continues to minister to us all. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Smallwood is Black excellence. Thank you.
That was excellent.
Wow. Thank you, guys. Yeah, he's the music fabric of my life. And that last screenshot was his funeral was going to be held here at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden on Saturday, January the 24th. And if you know, like I know, the doors open at 9. The services doesn't start until noon. However, you would want to get there at 8. It will be a very long day. It will be a long day, but a beautiful day because we are putting a beautiful soul to rest. So Bobby and Sean and everyone, next week we're back with a real Let's Get Newsy with you guys. We will be here for you guys next week. And okay, look, let me get my words of the week before somebody
you get in trouble with some of these comments. I just want you to know.
I'm in this okay, let me our words of the week before we let y'all go. Notice how this is from Bobby, and he had to pivot too to get this to us. Notice how GPS never say made a mistake. It simply says recalculating route. In 2026, ladies and gentlemen, embrace the detours, adjust the course, and keep moving. All right, those are our words for the week. Thank you. Those were so on time. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. You viewers, I just love you all. Marco May said, Black excellence indeed. My brother Darren, good to see you. He said, total praise. Kendall said, beautiful. Marco May says, now who was supposed to mail me my cup? It's coming. We went on holiday, Marco. It's coming. Marco, it's coming. I promise you it's coming. A fellow Techite, Mark Brown, said Bison and Native Washingtonian.
That's right.
AK Moore said, well said. Thank you, my brother. And he said, no, you need to be there at 7 a.m. Okay. You don't know what's coming. But thank you all for tuning in with us tonight and indulging us in our conversation. Bobby and Mark, I'm sorry, Mark Brown. I'm Bobby and Sean. Mark, stop talking to me. You stop talking to me. Bobby and Sean, thank you all. As always, you guys show up. Y'all look so good in your sweatshirt tonight.
Hoodie edition.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to seeing you next week and when we return for a new live episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
He said. Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Ciao.
Happy Friday, TGIF.